All right.
And that's actually a clap to start us off. Welcome back to episode whatever of A Legal Newbie and a Lawyer. I'm the Legal Newbie. This is the lawyer.
Andrew Helland.
Yeah, of Helland Law Group. And today we're going to talk about pain and suffering some more because we've actually already done a video on pain and suffering. This is going to be a little bit about how it's calculated and all kind of related to Washington State, where you practice.
That's correct, yeah.
Straight off, can you sue for pain and suffering in Washington State?
You certainly can. Here in Washington, what we have is usually when we're talking about a personal injury case, there's kind of two components to it. There's special damages, which are things that are very easy to prove. They're your medical bills, loss of your vehicle, stuff like that. Then your other side is what we sometimes call general damages. That's the stuff that's essentially the pain and suffering. It's no real quantifiable number to it, but that's the inconvenience of the accident, how it impacts you long term, kind of all the things that really go into the harm that you've experienced because of that accident.
Okay, so how did it mess up your life, kind of?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there a cap on how much a victim can be awarded for pain and suffering in Washington State?
Well, technically, no. We don't have any statute that limits general damages to 5 times the amount of your special damages or anything else like that.
Okay.
That being said, obviously, if your case goes to trial, if a jury comes back with a amount that's just really outside the realm of possibilities, a judge does have the ability to go ahead and reduce that.
Okay. Does that happen very often?
Not very often.
Okay. Yeah. Why is pain and suffering so hard to compute? I've seen all sorts of different ideas flying around on the internet.
Sure. I think the hardest thing is there's no formula to it. There's no hard numbers at all to be used on it. Instead, it's really kind of the value of how that accident impacted you long term. And sometimes it's difficult, and for every person it's different. And especially in a personal injury case, when you look at the accident and how it impacts you long term, those are hard things to figure out for a lot of people. So it becomes very, very challenging to try to figure out what is the value. And oftentimes, frankly, the value in terms of money isn't equal to what actually the harm is done to you long term. It's usually the harm is far greater.
That's disappointing.
It is.
Yeah. How do pain and suffering lawyers determine settlement compensation? Now, look, we know that it's hard to put a price on all this, but what's the approach?
Every attorney approaches things differently. Usually what kind of the starting point is a review of the medical records, looking at how the accident really impacted the person, obviously talking to the client and getting an understand of kind of the everyday effects that's had on them. Beyond that, sometimes we rely on experts to help us out to try to figure out the value of something. For example, if there's a need for continued medical treatment or long-term care, some of those things can help get factored on into that equation.
Okay. Does precedent play a role in that at all?
Absolutely. I mean, attorneys very frequently will look at other jury awards to see what kind of similar injuries, what juries have done with them.
Okay.
And, again, that's not binding on anybody, but it just kind of gives an idea of what a jury may think something is worth.
Okay. Okay. And probably pretty persuasive.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the insurance companies themselves. How do they try to approach determining the value of somebody's injury?
Well, insurance companies tend to be insurance companies insofar as what they tend to do is have a less human approach to things. They rely on computers, and what they do is they often put in the type of accident, the injuries that the person sustained, their age, sex, all these different kind of variables. They plug it into a computer program, and essentially out pops a range of potential settlements.
Okay. All right. And are those typically lower than what a lawyer is going to try to push for? Or?
Absolutely. Usually the insurance company is not your friend in this type of case.
Okay.
Their bottom dollar is saving money to their insured and trying to make sure that they pay out as little as possible.
Okay. Which is one of the reasons you might consider calling a personal injury attorney if you've been in an accident or somebody that you care about that's been in an accident, somebody who can advocate for you and understands these types of things, sees them on a regular basis. That's part of the value of what you bring, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, so if you, or a loved one, no. So if you have a need for a personal injury attorney, I just highly recommend the attorneys at Helland Law Group. Give them a call, they're gonna take amazing care of you.